Hey guys, it's the Boxing Genius, and I've got some thoughts on this whole Deontay Wilder situation. I found it very compelling because here's a guy who had one of the biggest reason to be legitimately the most confident man in the world, with one of with the most power in the world. And all of a sudden, you have to cope with the reality that you just got ashamed and publicly humiliated in front of everyone. And now have one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason in the world, to be ashamed, to be dethroned like that. And how do you cope with such, an extreme yin and yang going from one end of the spectrum to the other in one fell swoop? I mean, how does the mind deal with that? Because your reality changed, and you legitimately shouldn't be confident anymore when before you had a case to be the most confident person in the world. I mean, any person put in a situation like that with that big of a fall from grace, I don't know how they would, maintain their sanity. Honestly, I mean, it's such a rare case to be in, and I mean, I would think anyone would go insane. So it's going to be very difficult, in my opinion, uh, for him, to maintain, uh, you know, his his, his sanity there. So, um, all this coming out, we have to understand that as well. I find it also a little interesting that Tyson Fury, made his uh, uh, whole theme on illness, and now we could see him, very possibly send Deontay Wilder into mental illness, forever. So we'll see. But anyway, here's my thoughts on some things that I saw that it's a little peculiar. I just thought I should make them known, perhaps. So in 7/8's interview with Deontay Wilder, accuses Mark Breland, spiking the water, and he says very adamantly that he was the only one handling his water. Um, okay, so now we're gonna just take a peek at this clip of him in the locker room before coming out, and what are we gonna see? That's right. That's the water. That's JD giving him water. That's not Mark Breland. That's JD. So either Deontay Wilder has a completely different recollection of things, or this is just maybe a way of saving face. Um, I don't know, because here's JD giving him water. It just doesn't add up. Then you take another peek right before the fight in the ring. We're going to see, oh, look, he's giving him water again. That's not Mark Breland. Wait a minute. He's holding the water. Um, you know, so what's going on? This guy's giving him water, not that guy. He's accusing this guy of spiking the water. And he's saying this is the only one that had the water. So reality is not true, just complete uh, misrepresentation of what happened. My only thought, on that, maybe it's just a media ploy because, uh, to have that. I mean, Deontay has to know that Mark isn't giving him water in this situation, and he's not the only one handling the water. So, why would he make that claim unless there's another piece that I'm missing? But it might just it seems like he's just trying to save face here. Um, and then boost the publicity because the end goal is just to, boost publicity. So, people talking about Breland's spike in the water, they're not even doing these fact checks and people will then just go with it and run with it and have a day, talking about it like I am. And so that's kind of what their goal is to boost Deontay's popularity. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this whole spike the water thing might just be, to boost, the popularity online. So there's that. The only other thing I wanted to mention that I also found a little peculiar is at the end of the fight, Deontay specifically says, my leg was wrecked coming into this. And so much so, the commentator makes note of that, that Deontay doesn't say, the female commentator at the time, she says, Deontay, he just said that he wasn't 100% coming in. There was something wrong with his leg. So he's making this statement right after his fight in the post-fight interview. My leg, there was something wrong with it coming into the fight. And now that is somehow thrown out the table in his consideration. There's no mention of it whatsoever for what could be wrong with his legs. So if you dig a little deeper, it seems like perhaps maybe Deontay Wilder just had some actual leg injury, perhaps with that front left leg. I don't know, but if that would be the only case where this man probably doesn't go insane, because then it's like, okay, we're just saying these things to boost his popularity. We know the real situation deep down. We don't want to come out and say, Deontay had this leg injury going into the fight, and we knew this, and we still sent him in anyway, so we can make up all this other stuff. While Deontay knows deep down inside that he does have a real reason, for why he fought like that, and then he can maintain his sanity. But if this is all just crazy land and Deontay's pulling stuff out, left and right, then well, he's really not going to last very long. I would think before he just really goes off the deep end in some respects, in some type of episode, because holding it together with all these cracks in your reality of what makes sense, it's going to catch up to you. You're going to have to confront actual reality, and when that happens, you might have a serious further breakdown. So we'll see. It's very compelling, psychological bit, as I said. I find it interesting. Thought I'd share. I think that's it for now. Have a good one.